So hello everyone. Today we're back with passage number two, and I guess this thing has to be removed. Please remove yourself. Thank you very much. Okay. What do we have? We have matching headings. That's the first thing we want to know. So the other than that, we have a summary completion, or is it? I don't know if it says summary completion or not. The complex that includes the settlement and surrounding is considered to be big as the Egyptian something of the past. All right, I'm not necessarily going to read the matching headings because they do not come in order. It's just it is just available. You can see that it's A B C D E F G. The paragraphs you just read you read one paragraph and you just skim through the passages and just choose the most suitable one. Oh, okay. Excuse me. I had my microphone muted. And then we have which two of the following points does the writer make about King Djoser? So about King Djoser. So we have to find his statements. All right. The pyramids are the most famous monuments of the ancient Egypt and still hold enormous interest for people in the present day. These grand, impressive tributes to the memory of the Egyptian kings have become linked with the country, even though other cultures such as the Chinese and Mayan also built pyramids. So the evolution of the pyramid form has been written and argued about for centuries. However, key term here, there is no question that as far as Egypt is concerned, it began with one monument to one king designed by one brilliant architect, the step pyramid of Djoser at Saqqara. So this is some sort of an introduction here. Is you just I don't know if it's difficult to choose here. So the areas and artifacts within the pyramid itself, no. The answers to some expected questions, incredible experience, a pyramid design that offers other copied, a single certainty among other less definite facts. So first of all, one after another, the areas and artifacts within the pyramid itself. It does not talk about the areas. You have to be very close to that. You have to pay attention to the words areas. It does not talk about anything about the areas and the artifacts. There's nothing about artifacts as well. A difficult task for those involved. There's nothing about the difficult task as well. It is just talking about who built the pyramid and to whom was the pyramid built. And a king who saved his people, and there's nothing about that. But one thing that is very certain we can be very certain about is a single certainty. The reason for that is, let me just first of all, okay, it's gonna be number four, single certainty among other less definite. This is one thing I would really want to highlight is this part. The word, however, many people just skip. Just they ignore these contrasting questions. They could be some. They contrast things. It could be the evolution of the pyramid form has been written and argued by about for centuries. The evolution of the pyramid means how pyramid was developed. But however, there's no question that as far as Egypt is concerned, it began with one monument to one king designed by one brilliant architect. So there's no question that it's talking about only one certainty. You can see that the word single is being navigated, and let me highlight that, is being navigated through these words. You have to pay attention. One, one, one. One monument, one king, one brilliant architect. His name is Djoser. That's it. So we have the answer. Now, one thing I really also want to know that while I'm reading, I do know that these questions they do not come the lines they do not come in order. What I have to do here is that I also have to find the place of the answer. So, for example, the complex that includes the state pyramid and its surroundings is considered to be big as. Um, I think it should be if the question is coming it's coming in the middle, right? Because last two things. This is a global multiple choice question. Um, and you have to just find something about the Djoser, but also you have to find these words. For example, the word Egyptian. I'm not sure if I can find the word Egyptian here. I will just have to read that out. So, however, I will just what is that called? Scan. The complex that includes the step pyramid and its surroundings is considered to be big as an Egyptian something of the past. The area outside the pyramid included accommodation that was occupied by someone else, along with many other buildings and features. A wall ran around the outside. Wall ran around the outside of the complex, and a number of false entrances were built into this. In addition, a long something encircled the wall. Encircled means surrounded. Another word for the word, a synonym for the word surrounding. If I found it, surroundings. As a result, thus, any visitors who had not been invited were cleverly prevented from entering the pyramid grounds unless they knew the something of the real entrance. The answers are pretty much guessable, but we're not gonna do that. It's not okay to do this because it's not how it's done. Djoser was the first king of the third dynasty of Egypt and the first to build in stone. Prior to Djoser's reign, tombs were rectangular monuments made of dried clay brick, which covered underground passage where the deceased person was buried. Interesting. Okay. For reasons which remain, I just thought that I almost found the answer. For reasons which remain unclear, Djoser's main official, whose name was Imhotep, conceived of building a taller, more impressive tomb for his king by stacking stone slabs on top of one another, progressively making them smaller to form the shape now known as the step pyramid. Djoser is thought to have reigned for 13 years, but some historians and scholars attribute a much longer time for his rule, owing to the number and size of the monuments he built. One thing you can know, one thing I can highlight that Djoser is thought to have reigned for 13 years, but some historians and scholars attribute a much larger time for his rule, owing to the number and size of the monuments he built. Initially, he had to be persuaded to build in stone rather than clay. There is disagreement concerning attribute a much longer. I think this is paragraph B. There's a disagreement concerning the length of this reign, because some historians and scholars attribute a much longer. It was thought that he ruled for 19 years, but historians and other scholars are having a conflicting idea. They just disagree and say that it was much longer. Okay. However, here in Egyptian something, I don't know. B is talking about what? The pyramid, an overview of the external buildings and areas. Is that the case? No, a pyramid design that others copied. No, an idea for changing the design of burial structures. Okay. Is that the answer? An incredible experience despite the few remains. The answers to some expected questions. No, we don't have anything, but we have only burial structures. 7. The reason for that is so an idea for changing the design, because here prior to Djoser, tombs were rectangular. Tombs were rectangular monuments made of dried clay brick, which covered underground passages where the deceased person was buried. That person was buried for reasons which remain unclear. Djoser's main official, whose name was Imhotep, he suggested building a taller, more impressive tomb for his king by stacking stone slabs on top of one another. So he gave a suggestion. So that is the answer for us. We have an idea. Okay, please do not do that. So we have an idea for changing the design. You can see the design. The words like an idea for, so conceived, building a taller, a more impressive tomb for his king by stacking stone slabs on top of one another. This is the idea here. Now, the step pyramid has been thoroughly examined and is investigated over the last century, and it is now known that the building process went through many different stages. Historian Mark now know that the building process went through many different stages. Historian Mark van de Meerup comments on this, writing, much experimentation was involved, which is especially clear in the construction of the pyramid in the center of the complex. It had several plans before it became the first step pyramid in history, building 6 levels on top of one another. The weight of the enormous mass was a challenge for the builders who placed stones at an inward incline in order to prevent the monument breaking up? Um, okay, much experimentation was involved. Construction of the pyramid in the center of the complex. It had several plans several plans um before it became the first step pyramid in history, really 6 levels on top of one another. The weight of the enormous mass was a challenge for the builders. A challenge for the builders. Okay, we have a difficult task for those involved. And there we go. So I didn't highlight this. And this one is going to be number 2. The challenge, excuse me, challenge difficulty builders is for those involved. For those, we are talking about people. Now, moreover, D. So when finally completed, the step pyramid rose 62 meters high and was the tallest structure of its time. The complex in which tallest was big something. The complex in which it was built was the size of a city in ancient Egypt and included a temple, a courtyard, shrines, and living quarters of the priests. What? When finally completed, the step pyramid rose 62 meters high and was the tallest structure of its time. The complex that includes the pyramid and its surroundings is considered to be as big as an Egyptian. The complex in which it was built was the size of a city. Okay. Was as big as city. So the complex in which it was built was the size of a city in ancient Egypt because it was 62 meters high. And included a temple, courtyards, shrines, and living quarters of the priests. So pyramid included accommodation. Accommodation is living quarters that was occupied by priests. Occupied by priests. So, by the way, one thing I'm not doing here is this: I'm not underlining the question number here. 22, 22 here, 21 over here. All right, so I'm just gonna give this 16 over here and 15 over here and another one, 14 over there. There we go. Now, wall ran around the outside. It covered the region of 16 hectares and was surrounded by a wall 10.5 meters high. The wall had 13 false doors cut into with only one true entrance cut into the southeast corner. The entire wall was then ringed by a trench 750 meters long and 40 meters wide. A wall ran around the city of the complex, and a number of false entrances were built. So false entrances. So a number is 13. False doors, false entrances is a synonym, not a synonym, but a better phrase. False entrances. We have that. Were built into this. In addition, a long something encircled the wall. Entire walls by 750 meters long and 40 meters wide. What? Encircled the wall. And then the entire wall was then ringed. Ringed is a synonym. The answer is going to be trench. So I'm going to give this 23. I'm just going to remain intellectually humble and say I don't know the meaning of trench. Although I knew, but I'm not sure about that now. As a result, any visitors who had not been invited were cleverly prevented from grounds they knew something of the real entrance. The false doors and the trench were incorporated into the complex to discourage unwanted visitors. Okay, if someone wished to enter, he or she would have needed to know in advance how to find the location of the true opening in the wall. Djoser was so proud of his accomplishment that he broke the tradition of having only his own name on the monument and had Imhotep's name carved on it as well. What? So as a result, any visitors who had not been invited were cleverly prevented from entering the pyramid grounds unless they knew something of the real entrance. If someone wished to enter, he or she needed to know in advance how to find the location of the answer. I mean, location of the door. So the answer should be location. So 24 is going to be the answer. Is the answer here? Now, paragraph D is talking about paragraph D, what are you talking about? An overview of the external buildings in the area, uh, a, a pyramid design that others copied, no, an incredible experience despite the few remains, and areas and artifacts within the pyramid itself. Is that the case? An overview of the external buildings and areas. I think that's about it. An overview is an overview of the external buildings. External buildings, the complex in which it was built. It covered a region of 16 hectares and surrounded by walls, and so on and so forth. And this is talking about paragraph 17, paragraph D, which is answers to question number 17. So it's going to be 5. External buildings are like uh external buildings are the buildings that are outside. Um, it's like temples, courtyards, shrines, living quarters for the priests. Okay. And areas and artifacts within the pyramid itself. No, there is not talking about anything about the artifacts. But do we have any questions here? He felt appreciated how they was part in the design of the pyramid. A few of his possessions were still in his tomb when archaeologists found it. He criticized the design and construction of. Okay. And the burial chamber of the tomb, where the king's body was laid to rest, was dug beneath the base of the pyramid, surrounded by a vast maze of long tunnels. I think this paragraph E is already evident. Paragraph E is going to be number 1. And I'm going to remove that because it's already clear. Heirs and artifacts. So you can see that the word tomb, where the king's body was laid to rest, was dug beneath the base of the pyramid, surrounded by vast maze of long tunnels, had rooms that had rooms off them to discourage robbers. One of the most was mysterious discoveries found inside the pyramid, large number of stone vessels, and so on. There's a lot of them. I'm gonna go for the paragraph F. Unfortunately, all of the precautions. Why am I going to the paragraph F? Because if we have 25 and 26, it must come at the very last. But I will see if I'll not be able to find in paragraph F and G, I will just go for the paragraph E. Unfortunately, all of the precautions and intricate design of the underground network did not prevent ancient robbers from finding a way in. Djoser's grave goods and even his body were stolen at some point in the past, and all archaeologists found were a small number of his valuables overlooked by the thieves. There was enough left throughout the pyramid and its complex. However, to astonish and amaze the archaeologists who excavated it. Okay. Very interesting. Uh, Intricate design underground network. A pyramid design that others copied. Nope. King who saved his people. No. Incredible experience despite the few remains. There was enough left. Enough left is like a synonym for that. Enough left means few remains. So I think that's the answer for us. If I made a mistake, guys, you will just comment down below that I chose the different part. Uh, Egyptologist Miroslav Werner writes, few monuments hold a place in human history as significant as that of the Step Pyramid in Saqqara. It can be said without exaggeration that this pyramid complex constitutes a milestone in the evolution of a monumental stone architecture in Egypt and in the world as a whole. The Step Pyramid was revolutionarily advanced in architecture and became what the archetype which all other great pyramid builders of Egypt would follow. Djoser's grave goods and even his body were stolen at some point of the past, an archaeologist. I think this is going to be so like question 26, is it? 25 to 26. He failed to appreciate. A few of his treasures were still in his tomb when archaeologists found it. Right? No? I think that's going to be the answer. Few of his possessions were still in his tomb. Because it says Joseph's grave goods and even his body were stolen at some point in the past, and the archaeologists and all archaeologists found were a small number of his valuables overlooked by the thieves. There was enough left, means a few. So paragraph G. However, paragraph G, a king who saved his family or not? A pyramid design that others copied, which all other great pyramid builders of Egypt would follow. I think that's not the answer here. It's not gonna be. It's not talking about how king saved his. It's not talking about how king saved his people. A pyramid design that others copied. I think that's number. It's gonna be number 6. That's it. There we go, guys. We finished passage number 2. If you have any questions, make sure to comment down below. If you think I made any mistake, make sure to comment down below again. However, yes, do not hesitate. If you have any questions, yes, as always, I repeat the third time in a row, comment down below. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. If you have not subscribe, tap that subscribe button, ring bell as well to get a notification when I upload a new episode. And yeah, like it if you found it useful, if and dislike it if you found it very not useful as well. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, guys. Have a wonderful time.